Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, everybody. Let's start with some singing a little nigun to get us in the mood for Shabbat. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Lai, lai, la, lai, 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 la, lai, 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 la, lai, lai, la, lai, la, lai, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom. Ma yafe hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. My Hayom. Shabbat, Shalom. My Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful to see all of you here this evening and those of you joining us from home. Rabbi Glasser is on a much-deserved vacation, so you're stuck with me for the next few Shabbatot. We are going to turn together to page 8. Page 8, and let's read together. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. We turn together to page 16 as we continue with the words of Psalm 98. Got it, I got it, I got it. I'm standing in the wrong place. I'm all confused. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Zamru. Turn now to pages 2 and 3, and I invite up Pat Shomer, who's going to come kindle our Sabbath lights for us.
As these candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher Thank you, Pat. We're going to continue on pages 20 and 21 with the Kabbalistic poem Lecha Dodi, welcoming the Sabbath bride into our presence. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'nivorecha ishmiyan wel hamyuchad Adonai echad Shemo echad Hashem hu tiferet v'litilah Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelecha ki mekol habracha merosh mikedem betucha sof maaseh sof maaseh machshava tchila Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri, hitoreri, kivorek uri, 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 shidameri, vod Adonai alaych nigla. Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi shalom ateret bala gam mesimcha ufsola toch emunei am segula boi chala Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela Echad Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. We turn to the bottom of page 27, the very bottom, and read together Entrances to holiness. Oh, I'll wait for you to turn. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. And we turn over to page 28 for our call to prayer. 31. The middle of the page, we read together, "This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim." And in the middle of page 33, we read responsively, "Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives." Let's finish together, then, this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto leolam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto leolam va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Let's be seated once more and turn together to page 36 and join in the words of Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'otecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am v'shivtecha b'meitecha v'lechtecha b'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kulmecha וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. The top of page 39, we read together again. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Micha Mocha, page 40. middle of page 43. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu va'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. The top of page 44, we get our reminder to keep Shabbat. It's a covenant for all time, V'shamru. V'shamru, v'shamru, v'nei Yisrael, et hashabbat, la'asot et hashabbat, le'dorotam v'ritolam. Ve'ini u'vein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Ve'ini u'vein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. V'shamru, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et hashabbat, la'asot et hashabbat, le'dorotam v'ritolam. Ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et ha'aretz. V'shamru, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et hashabbat, la'asot et hashabbat, le'dorotam v'ritolam. U'vayom hashvi'i shalat vayhi nafash. U'vayom hashvi'i shalat vayhi nafash. V'shamru, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et hashabbat, la'asot et hashabbat, le'dorotam v'ritolam. We turn now to page 46, and we rise as a community for our tefillah. Adonai sefatai tiftach u'fiyagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'er Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Havot v'imahot, U'mevir Gula Livnei v'neihem, L'man Shemo Me'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, מחיי הכל התרב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Let's be seated and turn to the top of page 55. We read together, "May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat." The middle of page 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. Together, there may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We continue on page 60 with Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Yitzaur Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Yitzaur Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Etov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha take a few moments now for our own silent prayers. Ratzon imre fi, Yehud ratzon imre fi, V'hegyod libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri v'gohali. And at the bottom of page 62, you'll find the words to Yehud Ratzon and Oseh Shalom. Yehud Ratzon imre fi, Yehud Ratzon imre fi, V'hegyod libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri v'gohali. May the words of my mouth and meditations of my heart be acceptable before you, oh God, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu, V'al kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Page 253. We take a moment to think of those in our community who are in need of healing, healing of the body, healing of the soul. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech et hacholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. Our congregational family is especially thinking of Carol Babcock, Steve Bloomfield, Jim Brady, Howard Sherwin, Pauline Sherwin, Ann DePaul, Susan Derby, Helene Edwards, Muriel Fields, Beverly Fruit, Rabbi Bob Goodwin, and Marilyn Goodman, Jesse Halpern, Mary Hartman, Kimberly Janis, Gail Jarrett, Robert Kay, Dan Cartman, Mike Miller, Barry Newman, Donald Knoll, Sandy Olesker, David and Laura Osofsky, Bert Peters, Buddy Pollack, Jean Posen, Sean Quinlan, Ron Rappaport, Randall Rout, Sandra Reznikoff, Toby Ringel, Devorah Bot-Ruchel, Jacob Schreiber, Adele Shamban, Sid Siegel, Ruthie Silver, Nicholas Sobek, Carolyn Snyder, Brady Spector, Ann Stone, Judy Van Gorder. And if you have names to add to our list this evening, please do so. I'm going to come around. Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yimele Rachamim Aleichem, Lahachalimam Ularapotam Ulahachazikam, Vishlach Lehem Meherav Refuah, Refuah Shleima Min HaShamayim, Refuat HaNefesh Urefuat HaGuf, Hashta Bagala Vizman Kariv and Omar, Amen. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say, Amen. We join together in the middle of the page. By the time I get used to being in the driver's seat again, Rabbi Glassel will return. Next week might be the sweet spot, we'll see. So I have a Devar Torah this evening that I'd like to share with you by Rabbi Stephen Kushner. Stephen Kushner retired in 2018 after 38 years serving Temple Ner Tamid in Bloomfield, New Jersey. And it's for our Torah portion this Shabbat, Matot Maseh. And it's entitled, Are We There Yet? The Journey from Egypt to Israel as a Metaphor for Our Lives. And if you find this Devar Torah interesting, then you should join us tomorrow morning for Torah study, because we're going to delve into the idea of our lives as a journey. And Bob Weston assured me there will be food. It's a win-win, really. We now come to the end of the book of Numbers. Like an ancient triptych, is that aged or what? Triptych. The portion begins with a list of each location the Israelites traversed from Egypt to Israel. Ramses, Sukkot, Etam, Pihahirot, Mara, Elim, the Red Sea, Wilderness of Zin, Zopcha, Alush, Rephidim, Wilderness of Sinai, Kivrot Hatava, Chazerot, Ritma, Rimon Perez, Libna, Risa, Kehelat, Mount Shefer, Harada, Machelot, Taha, Tera, Mitka, Hashmona, Moserot, Bene Jakan, Hor Hagidad, Jotbat, Abrona, Etzion Gever, Kadesh, Mount Hor, Zalmona, Punon, Obot, Iya Abarim, Dibon Gad, Almon Diblatayim, the hills of Abarim before Nebo, the plains of Moab by the Jordan near Jericho. I've listed these locations intentionally. They might not make for the most engaging reading, but that doesn't mean that they're unimportant. Indeed, Torah tells us that Moses made a point of recording each location where they camped. For the casual reader, they're just place names, dots on an ancient map. The verses we usually skip along the way to the good stuff. And while most of these places carry no commentary of what might have happened there, Moses does take a moment in his travelogue to remind us that Mount Hor is where Aaron, his brother, died, and that Elim had 12 springs and 70 palm trees, And the mentioning of the Red Sea certainly is a hint to a pretty significant event. But well we know every one of those locations was a memory, albeit now forgotten. There are 42 places listed. In some of them, they encamped but for a few days. In others, they stayed for weeks, maybe even months. And in some, they lived for a year or more. These 42 places cumulatively represent the totality of the 40 years, what has come to be identified as a biblical generation. And so it is not surprising that our commentators, especially from the Hasidic tradition, have come to see these 42 encampments and their subsequent departures and journeys as being symbolic of the stages of our lives. From Egypt to the Promised Land, from our emergence from constriction to the land where milk and honey flow. The stops in between are the days of our lives, the moments that give us rest or stir us to move ahead, to grow, to become, to get where we're going. I've often felt that the underlying premise of Judaism is to bring about a union, or to be exact, a reunion with the divine. Recall how Torah begins. We dwell in paradise with God. But alas, we are driven out of Eden, and ever since our goal has been to return, to go home. It should come as no surprise then, but for the rabbis of the Talmud, the name for heaven is Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. A coming full circle, this path is implied, a microcosm in the teaching of Moses Chaim of Sudakov in this week's parashah. He says, I have heard in the name of the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidism, the 42 journeys of the Israelites are to be found in every person from the day of his birth until he returns to his world at death. Each individual's birth should be understood within the context of the exodus from Egypt, and the subsequent stages of life are journeys that lead us from place to place until one comes to the land of the supernal world of life that is the Shekhinah, the indwelling place of God. In other words, each stop along the way is an essential step toward reaching the goal. We might not realize it at the time. We might never realize it. Moses Chaim continues. A person thinks he goes to a particular place to attain something he desires, but in truth, that person is led to that place by God so that he may raise the holy sparks that have fallen and are sunk within the depth of the shells. Thus, according to the Baal Shem Tov, as taught through Moses Chaim, some of those places may not seem like they are moving us forward. We might feel quite the opposite, but the spiritual process of raising the sparks, especially the sacred points that dwell in each of us, is not necessarily intuitive. It might appear to us that we are stuck, even going in reverse. So it must have felt for the generation of the wilderness, especially given the many times they gave voice to returning to Egypt. But these 42 stages are necessary if we hope to get to the other side of the wilderness. Anne Helen Peterson, in assessing the development of the characters of AMC's award-winning television series Mad Men, observes, the beautiful and infuriating thing about Mad Men is its willingness to allow people to not change. Select few in real life have character epiphanies and 3-act emotional growth that actually sticks. Most attempt change, fall back on old behaviors, frustrate themselves and others. But what the Baal Shem Tov is attempting to impress upon us is that things are not always as they appear. What might seem to one as lack of change is actually a profoundly more subtle stage of spiritual growth. The times in our lives that feel wrong might very well be precisely what God intends. The fundamental premise of all mysticism is that there is more to reality than meets the eye. For the Baal Shem Tov, we are being led on a journey, whether we know it or not, and what feels painful might very well be just what we need if, that is, we hope to get to the other side of Midbar, the wilderness. Near the very end of Parshat Maseh and Sefer Bamidbar, Numbers, in noting the 6 cities of refuge, places set aside as sanctuary for manslaughterers as well as for the Levites, Torah casually mentions that there should be an additional 42 cities designated for the Levites. I find it intriguing that the number of those additional cities should correspond precisely to the 42 encampments and journeys that Israel traversed from Egypt to the land of Israel. Could Torah be subtly suggesting to us that each stage of one's journey out of Mitzrayim, the narrow place, Egypt, and into the wilderness has a parallel home in paradise? Or could it simply be coincidence? Maybe the only way to know for sure is to consciously embrace one's life as just such a journey. We turn together to page 282 and rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורר עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך המלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
The top of 287, we read together. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. The bottom of 291. Yesh kochavim shoram magia arza, רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. There are stars up above so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. Bottom of 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth. Our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Members of our congregational family are in a period of shloshim for Dr. Harold Coleman, David Steidman and Robert Stevenson. In this Shabbat, we observe the yahrzeit of Belle R. Bear, Sadie Bonzener, William Bronstein, Blanche Brunswick, Jay Diamond, Fred Edelman, Sophie S. Finkelstein, Paul Friedman, Pearl Ginsberg, Morris Gottfried, Leo Gray, Norma Green, Vivian Greenspan, Eva Hess, Marjorie Jacobs, Aaron Lerman, Carolyn Marco, Maurice Meyer, Alan Aukun, Mildred Pargman, Martha Greenholz Passink, Samuel Rachelson, Nettie Sachs, Marcia Semmel, Bernard Melvin Siegel, Arnold Silverberg, H.C. Sims III, Manny Solomon, Rachel Weinstein, Lonnie Warren. And if there is someone that you are thinking of and you would like to add their name to our list this evening, please go ahead and share those names with us now.
Christopher Welch.
For all of those whom we named aloud and those we hold in our hearts today and always, we rise together to extol God's name through the words of Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye chon uv'yomei chon, uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimrama, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. Please be seated once more. And it's my privilege to invite to the bima, representing our Board of Trustees, Jonathan Richmond.
Shabbat Shalom. So first, thank you, Cantor, for stepping right up. Never miss the beat, so we appreciate that. It's nice that we have the benefit of having you here, and we don't have to worry about having clergy representation, so such a blessing, so thank you. I'm Jonathan Richmond, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, we welcome you to Congregation Ahavat Chesed. So welcome. We want to extend a special welcome to the Budman family, so Robert, V, daughters Ariel and Tanya. So if you could raise your hand real quick, and don't want to embarrass you, but if you hadn't had a chance to meet them, please say hi. And if I got those names wrong, I've known Robert about 5 minutes, but he'll let me know that I messed him up, so. So welcome. Also a special welcome to Dion Griffin. I'm going to embarrass you, so raise your hand, please, if you hadn't had a chance to say hi. And if you haven't seen somebody here before, please make it a point to leave here meeting somebody new for the first time. So you're going to hear Cantor's name a bunch of times. So tomorrow morning, Canterbury will lead Torah study at 9 a.m., followed by Shabbat morning minyan at 10:30 in the chapel. Other temple events happening this week are Israeli whiskey tasting on Saturday at 6 p.m., and wisdom led by Michelle Pargman on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. So Jody Klein, our new acting director of education, I'll ask you to raise your hand too. If you haven't met Jody, please say hi. So very exciting news, TIR registration is open. So if you know of any families, if you're a young family, now's the time, so please register for TIR. We're excited to have the children back in our hallways, bringing life to the congregation. Shana Tova greetings for the yearbook are on sale until September 1st. For more information on pricing, please view your Temple Times or contact Ellen Burson. Don't forget to bring in your school supply donations for Cedar Hills Elementary. The donation bin is located in Temple's lobby, right out front, or also by using Amazon's wishlist link in the Temple Times. Please check your email for a link to submit loved ones you'd like to remember for this year's Yisker Memorial Book. Our oneg tonight is in front of temple. If you'd like to speak to our clergy after services, we ask that you please wait and meet them at the oneg. Shabbat Shalom.
So we're going to turn to page 5 to share together in the Kiddush. Please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho mi'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah le'mikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Misraim ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'beratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mikadish hashabbat. Amen. Now, I could use a little help with the challah. If you have not yet reached the age of 13, would you come up and join me for the motzi? Yeah. Look, it's Eli. Come on up, Chris. I'm wearing heels. Would you hold the challah for me? Could you hold them? Here, come on over here so that the camera gets you, just in case. And we're gonna let. All right, would you hold? Here, hold it together. Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, don't drop it. Got it? Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. And then we get to say to you, Betei avon, which means bon appetit, or have a good appetite. Would you like to take a little? You want to take? Go ahead, rip some off. Oh, no, wait, not. Use your hand and rip it. Can you rip it? Oh, just like Eli did. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah. Maybe 2 hands? Yeah, yeah, pull it off. Yay, good job, thank you. We're going to conclude our service this evening with the words Hine Ma Tov, because it was so lovely to be here together as a family. You can find the words if you need them on page 10. Hine Ma Tov Olanai Sheverachim Lam Yachad. Hine Ma Tov Olanai Sheverachim Lam
Shabbat Shalom.